no matter where you are, no matter when you are. Good morning. No coffee for me today, friends. It's the afternoon, and I don't need to be wired all day. So, let's get right into it. I want to open with something heartwarming and cool. So, for those who did not know, yesterday was the ESPN Awards, or the ESPYs. Now, Damar Hamlin is a gentleman who plays for the Buffalo Bills that last year suffered cardiac arrest on the field during a game. So, in other words, he had an actual heart attack on the playing field during an NFL game that was to decide the playoffs, and they ended up pushing it and delaying the game because it's important to make sure that people are okay when tragedy happens. Luckily for Damar, the training and health staff for the Buffalo Bills were right there, as they always are, and were able to perform, things they needed to do to make sure he was able to make it to a hospital and survive throughout this very traumatic event in front of millions and millions of people. And during the ESPYs last night, he gave an award-winning speech, in my opinion, where he talked about how before that day, he is your stereotypical football player who didn't know a single name of anyone who wasn't on the team, on the field playing. He didn't know any of the training staff. He didn't know any of the medical staff's names, none of that. But he knows them all now, and he knows them very well because, he hangs out with them. He thanks them. They literally saved his life and made it possible for him to continue playing football and doing the thing he loves with his life. So that's super awesome. I wanted to shout that out because that's a really good story. Great way to start the news. Fun fact, too, Lil Wayne, Mr. Bryan's favorite, played a song live at the ESPYs, and that was really cool. So I want to shout that out. Let's get into our local stuff real quick, actually. So Detroit courts are allowing virtual visits for the first hearing in eviction cases. Eviction being that of being forced out of your home, whether it's delinquent payment, breaking rules, whatever it may be. Zoom goes that car, if you heard that. This is about people being removed from their home. And if you are one of the people who are unfortunately removed from your home vis-a-vis eviction, well, now you can go to your first court case hearing online, which this is awesome. Does everyone have access to cars? No. Does everyone have access to quick, short bus routes, or is there guaranteed a bus stop outside of their apartment, home, whatever it may be? No. Do things happen in life where maybe you do have a car but it broke? Yes. So this is super awesome because this allows people to have their first hearing virtually, and it also allows them to make plans. When's the next hearing? Okay, it's this far out in advance. Make plans. Who can take me? How can I get there? Things like that. I think this is a super positive. I think you're going to see some sides to both sides of the coin here when people talk about, well, are people going to show up? What about Wi-Fi? Is it equitable to say, does everyone have Wi-Fi? Well, you don't have to do this. This is, if you need to, you can have your first hearing about your eviction online. So that will start on July 31st. It will actually be a resume plan from the beginning of COVID. All right. Next. So Kid Rock, for those who do not know, he is a very interesting musician from Michigan. He's from Detroit. He's born and raised here in Detroit. He loves Detroit. He's donated money to it. He's done good things for the city. But he's also kind of a wild card and has some really bad opinions and really bad views, and has said some pretty brutal stuff live on TV before about, people involving gender and race and things. And anyway, as of now, he is declaring Bud Light, a type of beer, is no longer allowed in his bars. I think he has some in Detroit and some in Nashville, which is in Tennessee. Now, the reason why he's boycotting Bud Light is a while ago, Bud Light did a partnership with a trans woman where they put her face on a bottle of her favorite beer, Bud Light, and sent it to her. There was some plans, I believe, to sell a limited amount of cases with her face also printed on it, but that ended up not happening because that one bottle with her face on it was sent out to her, got so viral on social media that all the conservatives started boycotting. So in other words, not buying, going against, and speaking out against Bud Light. And they're saying that the company is too woke, that they won't drink their beer and be forced to be gay because their beer supported one person who was trans. There's a lot of weird things. People with beer, people with gender identity. I don't know if those three things should have ever mixed, because look what we got. A huge online argument. But whatever. Hey, to each their own. Drink what you want to drink. Be who you want to be. Don't get mad at other people for doing other things other than what you like or what you do. Okay? Okay. All right, super fast on this one. So you might know Barbie's opening, but you might have also heard via memes or interest about the other movie that's dropping, the Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. I'm a Heimer, you're a Heimer. Everyone's a Heimer. I'm just joking. But no, this is important to know that I'm not going to break down this article. What I'm going to talk about in this article is that we must know this movie is about the nuclear bombs that were dropped in Japan in World War II and the building of them between Sir Albert Einstein and another gentleman, that of who you see here. Now, the gentleman being portrayed in the movie and in this article as well as the book, because the movie, what this article is trying to tell people about is that the movie is based on a biography that was published in 2005 about this exact thing. It was a very eye-opening biography. It was a very deep and dark biography that revealed a lot of secrets that helps historians today build the narrative around what really happened in World War II, especially with nuclear ties. So I wanted to shout this out because, we might not have known that, and that's okay. What's important to know is that we fill in the blanks of the history we do not know. So I wanted to share with you and let you all know this is the man, the myth, the legend himself. This is J. Robert Oppenheimer. A lot in the world changed due to the things this man was able to do in the field of science, whether he wanted to be used the way it was or not. So last two stories here. Mr. Robert F. Kennedy, not JFK, not my guy, but Robert F. Kennedy. This is an interesting thing. I just want to bring this up real quick. He's running for Democratic president position, and a lot of people are behind him and support him because it's Kennedy's. Other people are behind and support him because of things he said. But it is important to see both sides of everything, as I hope we all know by now, two sides of every coin. We need to look at both. We can't just make blind judgments. So I'm going to point out the fact that Mr. Kennedy here has said a few times that he believes there is chemicals being added, man-made chemicals being added to public water supplies that is impacting children in the way that they understand their own sexual identity, that is possibly turning some other children gay or putting them into the trans community. That's outlandish. We know a different gentleman, Alex Jones, who got sued for saying things like this. Yes, no, he got sued for the Sandy Hook one overall, but he was the one that said the thing about the water and the frogs. Connect a little dot A to a little dot B and figure it out. So it's quite interesting to see how people can really come up and stand behind these conspiracy theories that have no backing, but for some reason they believe it enough to want to say it to the public and face backlash and ridicule they know that they're probably going to get. So it's quite interesting. We'll have to see how this affects his campaign. All right, last story. We're going to fly through this one because I want this one to break a little more before we dive into it. It broke, I believe this article is from today. Okay, this broke today. So we're probably going to touch on this again next week. So FTC open investigations into ChatGPT's maker, so the OpenAI. The agency is trying to figure out what are the security practices. Are they stealing people's information? Are they stealing people's ideas? Are they stealing the way we talk? Are they stealing your personal private information? There's a lot of things. This is going to be a huge investigation because this won't affect just ChatGPT and OpenAI. This will affect everyone. Remember Sam Altman? I talked about he's the gentleman that's scared about what things can do. It's not just him. He's not the only one. Doesn't look very scared in that photo, but hey. So we'll cover this story again next week. We'll come back and touch on this one again. But thanks for listening, everyone. Sorry this video is a day late and $1 short. But get ready for next week when we'll be back on time. We'll cover some more interesting stories. Thank you for sticking around. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And now I'm going to go fight a cobra in a cage match. So, bye.